of using her body language to tell me that she's sorry. I'm going to tell you the scene. We're roommates, and I went to Pluckers last night. I came home today after a long day of going to classes, and I was excited to eat my Pluckers. But my roommate here, she's already eaten my Pluckers. Right, oh exactly. So she's going to apologize to me for eating my Pluckers. She's going to tell me she's sorry. And so in the first scenario, I want you to tell me you're sorry for eating my Pluckers, but I want you to be kind of dismissive. I want you to use your body language to display to us that you're saying you're sorry, but are you really sorry about what you did?
We're roommates, right?
We're roommates, all right? So am I walking in or you're? I'm walking in.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm walking, okay. Whew. Man, I can't wait to get this Pluckers. Open this refrigerator. What's your name, by the way?
Jalissa.
Jalissa?
Yeah.
Okay. Jalissa? When I left for Econ 304L, there was Pluckers in this mini fridge right here.
Oh, yeah, I ate it. I was hungry, so, hope you don't mind.
Oh, Jalissa, I mind. Come back over here. Jalissa, I have been studying hard and I wanted these Pluckers. Where's my Pluckers?
My stomach.
Jalissa, are you sorry about eating my Pluckers?
Yeah. I mean, of course, that was yours, but, I was hungry, so.
Jalissa, you don't look too sorry. Your arms are crossed. You're standing off. I don't feel like you're sorry. So I want to try this again. I want to feel like you're sorry for what you did. Oh, Jalissa.
What's wrong?
There were some Pluckers in here earlier. Where are my Pluckers?
Wait, those were yours?
Yeah, they were mine. They had my name on it. Tepera, our Holman, do not eat. Pluckers, mine.
I'm really sorry. Look, I it was a stressful day, and I really was hungry, and I didn't have money. I'm broke, okay?
Oh.
You know this.
I understand. There you go. Thank you. All right. So we can see the difference here is that our body language matters. She was saying the exact same thing, but she was using her nonverbals to show me two different things. In the second one, I felt like she was sorry. I understand she was a broke college student. She needed to eat my food. In the first one, she didn't care about me. She didn't care that I was hungry. That I spent my hard money on Pluckers. She just ate it. All right, so really think about this. The way you communicate is really important. The way that your body is, the way that your posture is, the way that you open yourself up to the person that you're communicating with. It's not just your words. Words are important, but that's a part of the equation when you're communicating with other people. So we're going to transition to talking about the different forms of communication, the different ways that you're going to communicate with people on a daily basis. So let's first off talk about face-to-face communication, and this is going to be a big part of what you're doing over the next several weeks as you are applying and interviewing for your internships, and as you're going through this process. So I know you should have applied to internships by now, but now you're going to start going through the process of actually interviewing for these internships. We talked about demeanor, we talked about the way you hold yourself, that's important. Making eye contact. Looking at a person in their eyes, and I know that can be really awkward sometimes to look at a person in their eyes. A trick that I try to practice is if I don't want to look at a person in their eyes, sometimes I'll turn a little bit and look at their ear, and it looks like I'm looking at them in the eyes, but I'm really looking at their ear, so we're not making eye contact at all, because you feel like I'm staring at you right now and I don't see your eyes at all. So maybe just avert your eyes a little bit, look at their ear, and it's less awkward for you if you're not comfortable with looking someone straight in their eyes. So turn to your neighbor and just practice that for a second. Tell them your name. Alrighty. Let's bring it back. I'm hot. Okay. Clap if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Thank you. All right, great. I just wanted to break it up a little bit of me just talking. All right, so another important thing when face-to-face communicating is seek permission. And so what we mean by this is just don't barge into someone's office and start speaking to them. For instance, with John, if you need to talk to John and his door is open, don't just walk in and start talking, hey John, I need to talk to you about my scholarship that I just got put on hold because I'm one of the 50 people who haven't done their requirements that I'm supposed to be doing. Don't just jump into whatever it is that you need to talk about. Ask that person, is it okay if I speak to you right now? Do you have time to talk to me? Give them a cue that you're also outside of their door. Just don't sit in there awkwardly waiting for them to look up at you. Maybe do a little knock. Introduce yourself and then go into why you're coming to see them. They may not be able to speak to you in that moment. John may have to say, hey, actually I'm kind of busy right now, or I have another student who's on their way here. Can you schedule an appointment? So be okay with that, but seek permission when you're going to speak to someone. Make sure that they're okay, they have the time to speak to you in that moment. Introduce yourself, and this really depends on the context of when you're talking to a person face to face. If it's someone you have a relationship with, they know you may not need to introduce yourself, but once again, I'll talk about John. There's 500 of you and only one of him, so he's probably not going to know every single person's name right now. Help him out by introducing yourselves, telling him who your name, you're in his cohort when you're going to speak to him. Don't just assume that person knows who you are. State the purpose and your desired outcome. Whatever the situation may be, talk about why you're there. What's your reasoning for coming to speak to that person? Have a reason, know where you're going with the conversation. And this next one is really important. Give them your undivided attention. I don't know how many meetings I've been in with students in which they had their cell phones out, they were texting or tweeting in the middle of a conversation that we were having. Sometimes it may even be like we'll be talking about something and I say something that triggers resources that they want to look up in that moment. Try to refrain from doing that. Write down any information that you want to look up later and do it after the conversation. Because if you pick up your phone, I see y'all come to you. If you pick up your phone immediately and just start looking stuff up, that shows me you don't care about anything else that I have to say in that moment. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, if you could just answer the question about taking notes while talking to somebody. You just said to do it after taking notes.
No, you can take notes while the person is talking. It's just something about when. No, if you're writing down, like jotting down the notes that I'm saying, I feel like you're engaging with me. But when you pick up your phone and start like scrolling, I feel like you just ignored everything that I'm saying because you're completely distracted in that moment. Yeah. Cool. So that's like give your undivided attention and then ask clarifying questions of stuff when you don't understand. Don't ask them to repeat things because you weren't listening. And that's really important as you're going throughout the process. And think about this when you're in an interview as well, that you're making sure that you're really focused in on the questions that your campus partners are going to ask you in that interview process. A lot of times when we're going through interviews, our mind is racing so much to make sure we have an answer for the questions that sometimes we miss out on what people are asking us. So it is okay when you're in an interview to kind of take a breath, make sure you heard the question before you start answering. You don't have to immediately fill in the silence. A lot of people feel awkward with silence, and so they immediately feel like they have to start talking because they just finished a question and they expect you to have this great answer immediately. It's okay to take a break, make sure you heard them properly, make sure you process the question before you're moving forward. And then lastly, and I can't stress this enough, thank a person for their time. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for taking time out of your day and meeting with me. Thank you for setting aside time to talk with me today. This is really big for your interviews. At the end of your interviews, you should thank all of the people who were there for the interview process and even follow up with a thank you email after the fact. Send them an email, say thank you very much, dear so-and-so, and we'll talk about email etiquette in a little bit, but dear so-and-so, thank you for meeting with me and talking to me about this internship. I'm really excited about the opportunity to potentially intern with XYZ office. Cool. Any questions about any of this or any pushback? You can push back. All right. All right, so Another big part, though, of that face-to-face communication is not just the speaking part, it's the actual listening, and active listening is really important. It's just as important for you to be able to hear what the other person is saying, and not just to hear those words, but to truly listen and internalize what they're saying to you. Listening really communicates to someone else that you care about what they have to say. And that you're involved in what the conversation and where you're going. Ways that you can show people that you're actively listening, and the things we put up there is rephrasing what was said to you, summarizing it, putting it all together, ask clarifying questions, not necessarily asking them to repeat themselves, but ask them questions of things that you didn't quite understand. And you can do this in an interview. You can ask them to repeat the question or ask the question in a different way if you're not exactly sure what they're trying to ask you or what they're trying to get to. It's okay to ask, hey, do you mind repeating that question? Or I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me. Can you maybe rephrase the question for me? And that's completely appropriate to do in an interview setting. A technique that we want to talk to you about for how to communicate with someone and to actually practice active listening, we're going to do this in a second, is this method right here, SOLER, technique of listening. So it's just a quick acronym, but you want to squarely face the person that you're talking to. So you want to be engaged.